like other people were like, wait, but why did you need to go to the counselor? I'm like, it wasn't okay. Like,
you know, or you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Everybody, the cup is back, and you know what that means. Hey everybody, welcome to this video. I'm Kadzai, and today is episode 4, and we're going to be talking about mental health. In this video, I mainly wanted to talk about mental health, especially for international students coming from Zimbabwe, just because it's such a taboo topic that we don't talk about at home. It's like we don't have the knowledge, the language, and the tools to be able to talk about it, even with our families, because it's seen as a sign of weakness or not being grateful or complaining. It's been a journey that I've been going through. And I think I'm at a better place than I was in my freshman year, definitely. I feel like I have better language and better tools to be able to talk about it. The truth is that most international students, like, you will struggle with mental health at some point. Realize that you are struggling and go and get help when you need it. So what is mental health? I brought my trusty phone and I have some notes written out to basically explain what mental health is. So just like you would go to the gym, work out, that's for your physical health. Mental health is also for your emotional well-being. It basically is the foundation of your ability to be able, your emotional well-being and ability to be able to function in an environment. Now that I've explained what mental health is, I'm going to talk about the mental health spectrum. I actually didn't know about this until like after I had been like, you know, a regular visitor at the counselor's office. The mental health spectrum it's basically a continuum model. I'm going to put it up right here so you guys can see. It ranges from healthy, which is green, reacting, which is yellow, injured, which is orange, and then ill, which is red. Within healthy, you have normal fluctuations in mood, you have normal sleep patterns, you're physically well, full of energy, you're consistent in performance, and you're socially active. In reacting, you're nervous, you're irritable, you have trouble sleeping, and you decrease your social activity. In injured, that's when the anxiety, anger, pervasive sadness and hopelessness starts creeping up. Ill, you're excessively anxious, you're unable to fall or stay asleep, and you're physically exhausted from just doing regular like things. So, you know, like just going out with friends and eating a meal, and after you feel like you have been fighting the war of the worlds, you're not okay and you need to seek help. And when you have positive mental health, you realize your own abilities, you're capable of doing great things. You cope with the normal stresses of life, like let's say you're stressed from studying or you have a lot of assignments, and you work and you study productively. So when you don't take care of your mental health, your social life will be affected, your academics will be affected, your relationships will be affected, and so will just your interactions, your daily interactions with people, and also your physical health. So there's so many reasons for the decline of the mental health of international students in colleges, and some of the factors are loneliness, homesickness, isolation, stress from academics, stress from relationships, stress from like your social life or a job, and just in general the peer pressure and also the pressure from family to perform and to always constantly do good and never fail. Like failure is not an option. Study related stress too, yeah. And for me, I felt that some of the pressure of having to perform, that definitely really affected my mental health, especially my first semester. And like for me, it was like manifesting in a way where I wouldn't get out of bed. I wouldn't want to go to practice. I wouldn't want to go to class. And like having to accept and like realize that, hey, I'm actually not okay, and this is a pattern of behavior that is very unhealthy for myself and those around me. You know, that's when you need to really take action for yourself and just be like, I need to take care of myself so that I can be my best for others too. So who can help? Counseling services on campus. I would say really utilize that service if you have it on your campus, because you cannot go through like very stressful events by yourself and just be like, I am strong, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, without having somebody else to be like, hey, I just need someone to talk to about this. I have a list also that I curated of places you could actually seek help if you're not comfortable with the ones that I already mentioned. Counselors, external counselors, your college can link you with those resources. Doctors off campus too, psychologists and psychiatrists off campus, and even nurses. Be mindful on campus where those resources are. So if you might have a counseling service unit place, probably by health services, and you could go in and just ask and be like, hey, I would like to speak to someone, you know, schedule an appointment with a counselor. How do I go about that? How do I do that? Ask questions, don't be afraid. So I'm going to talk about the stigma of, you know, the stigma surrounding mental health, especially within African households and like with African students. There's that stigma that's like, oh, you're just lazy, or you're weak, you're being a baby. If you're struggling, get help. You should not be out here trying to prove that you are, I don't know, Hulk. Even Hulk cries in the Avengers movies. Thor cries. Like, all the people we think are so invincible out there, like they have those breaking moments, and then they do have that support system of people helping them. Get help. That is my number one recommendation. Get help. If you even feel the slightest of like, I'm not okay, get help. Another stigma surrounding mental health within the African diaspora and like of international students is that a lot of people are afraid that their friends or family could make fun of them. And I certainly was one of those people. Like in the first couple of weeks when I got to the US, I was like, I'm not okay. I had gone through a very traumatic experience just a few months prior, where I lost my father before I went to college, and I was not okay. I was still in that phase of grieving, but also I had come to this new place. It was so exciting. Like, everyone else was excited around me except me. I didn't know how to cope with my feelings. I didn't know how to handle what I was feeling at the time. And so it just, for everybody, it just felt like I was such a grouch. I was afraid and ashamed of like accepting that I was not okay. Yeah, that's how I would put it. I was very ashamed of feeling like I was a failure and not being able to cope with those feelings. But you know, I was grieving. It was a very traumatic event for me, and I went and I sought help, and like having to explain that to people around me was more challenging than me actually getting help. Like, you know, like other people were like, wait, but why did you need to go to the counselor? I'm like, I wasn't okay, like, you know? And we do need to have people to lean on, to have people help us in those times of need. And that's why we have like mental health professionals in colleges and universities, and people there as resources for you to be able to go to when you're not feeling your best. There's nothing negative about seeking help for your mental health. That is one thing I will say to you. If people say anything about that, how are they helping you? Because you've told them that you're facing this problem, you have this issue, but instead they're ridiculing you. That's not your friend. You have this awesome opportunity. You're healthy. You're physically, though, you know, from the outside, you are you're in this new place, you're starting this new journey in life. You're supposed to be grateful, happy, successful, but you're not. And that's okay. And that's one thing I had to really wrestle and grapple with, knowing that it was okay to not be okay. Took a while, really took a while. Whew, it's been a journey, y'all. 4 years. Right, let's get to it. I have linked in the description box below some resources that you could use when you get to the US and you're feeling a little stuck on mental health issues and like how to talk about them and like what exactly they entail, because I could only cover so much in 11 to 12 minutes in this video, but there's a world of resources out there for you to look up, and so I've linked them down in the description box below so you can go further and dive deeper into more about mental health. One resource that really helped me on this mental health journey that I actually started, I would say maybe my second semester of freshman year, is the Shout Feel Good guide. And it's an online guide basically with just self-care tips on what to do when you're not feeling okay, feeling under the weather, feeling a lot of pressure, anxiety, anger, stress, all of those emotions, and how to deal with them and mitigate that before it becomes like a long-term problem. Another thing other than the Feel Good guide that really helped me was meditation, learning to center myself and to be in stillness. I use an app called Headspace, and it has been so amazing, from guided meditations to just like 15-minute quick like midday, like if you feel like your day, or I felt like my day was like overwhelming, I could just get on my app, put my headphones in, and like just take a 15-minute breather or a 10-minute breather, and just breathing exercises, stories, all of that. And that was on Headspace. And when I found that app, it actually got recommended by a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, and I absolutely love Headspace, and I've been using it ever since. Another thing that I do other than meditation is journaling, like just writing things out really helps me offload my mind. So that's another way that I also have been coping with just the stresses of college and learning to keep my mental health at a very good level, so the green level. And then one really good tip I would give for you to be able to cultivate good mental health practices is, for me, I had to learn to let go of things I cannot control. Let go of things you cannot control. I already touched on the topic that will be coming up in the next video on Friday, which is self-care. It's basically a continuation from today's conversation on mental health. And so on Friday, I will be posting a video on self-care and how that relates to mental health, and how self-care can help you cultivate good mental health habits. And so thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you all on Friday. I will be posting the video there, and thank you so much.